Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was saying, Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this motion for consideration of the second supplementary estimates for this financial year, as ably moved by the Deputy Speaker and seconded by the Honorable Pokose. I know the Honorable Makali Mulu, being an economist, would have wanted more details, but I believe he was also very busy reading the same report. That's why he did not hear the Deputy Speaker and the Honorable Pokose move and second. But Honorable Speaker, this second supplementary comes in the backdrop of a period where the nation, as I said earlier when we were discussing the budget policy statement, our economy is stabilizing and increasingly becoming better than the position that we were in. True, Honorable Speaker, it comes in the backdrop of a situation where we found ourselves in with a loss of almost 6 months without a finance bill following the events of June last year and the eventual rejection of the finance bill. Honorable Speaker, many people may take it for granted that there was no impact on our budget process by the events of June 2024. But Kenyans across the country can bear witness that there was a real impact of the disruptions that came with the rejection of the finance bill in 2024. Many Kenyans around the country have been agitating for rehabilitation of roads that have had no money to rehabilitate. You have seen many actors in the labor movement, right from doctors, teachers, professionals in the teaching fraternity, those in our universities, agitating for implementation of collective bargaining agreements, which were supposed to be funded out of the monies or revenues that were to be raised by the finance bill of 2024. But, Honorable Speaker, allow me to take this opportunity to thank the House and thank the many Kenyans who in October last year joined the Finance and National Planning Committee during public participation to reconsider many of the proposals that were there in the finance bill. And therefore, we may need to understand that this supplementary tool comes in that backdrop of reduced revenues out of the events of June 2024, the belated mobilization of revenues because we did not have a finance bill to mobilize resources, as was expected by the 1st of July 2024. It wasn't until the end of December, because the bills that we passed on the 4th of December commenced to mobilize revenues from the 27th of December. And therefore, we have only mobilized resources for about 2 months, the whole of January and now February. This is only the 2.5 month when we have had the tax measures that we put mobilizing resources. And it is in the backdrop of that, Honorable Speaker, that the National Treasury has had to review the budget of the financial year 2024-2025 so that they're in tandem with the revenues and the reality of the time, because the revenues that were projected at the time we were doing the budget last year were projected with having in mind that we'd have a finance bill that would collect revenues from the 1st of July to the 30th of June this year. But as the case may be, we have only, as I said, been able to collect revenues from January to date. And therefore, we have now to review the revenue projections. And with the revision of revenue projections, we also have to review the expenditure projections, Honorable Speaker. And I'm glad the National Treasury has factored in all this in the revision of the expenditure and in an effort to continue the fiscal consolidation that I was speaking about earlier in the morning, to ensure that we close this financial year with a supplementary budget that is as close to reality as possible, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the proposed reallocations and additional allocations that are contained in this report and the schedules that are being printed and which members will be able to access from the tablets shortly, part of the gainers, Honorable Speaker, is the security sector. And again, Honorable Speaker, is also worth noting that the National Police Service has been allocated an additional 7.5 billion, 5 billion of which is shortfalls in insurance costs, and 2.5 billion to support the Haiti peacekeeping mission, Honorable Speaker. and in addition, also other resources to ensure that we continue to secure our country. Honorable Speaker, you know, I heard many people recently fault the policy proposal to allow Kenyans from all corners of the country to be able to access ID cards fairly and in an equitable way without discrimination. And some of the resources you see here, Honorable Speaker, going to the National Intelligence Service is to ensure that security measures in the country are enhanced so that even as you issue out identity cards to Kenyans, we make sure that it is only Kenyans who are accessing our identity cards. Honorable Speaker, there has been also a problem of pending bills. And our economy has slowed down largely because many people, many business people across the country have bills that they delivered goods and services to the government, the national government and our county governments, and have not been paid. And part of the culprits has been the Ministry of Defense. And I can see, Honorable Speaker, in this supplementary budget, the Ministry of Defense has an additional 6 billion shillings, which is going towards settlement of pending bills. And I do hope that the Principal Secretary and the accounting officers in the Ministry of Defense will be able to settle, especially the small, micro and MSMEs who have delivered goods and services to the Ministry of Defense, many of who suffer and some are closing down their businesses because they are not being paid. And I want to plead with them to prioritize the small people before they go to the very big suppliers who may have a little bit more muscle with the banks. Honorable Speaker, as I said, we have had issues with collective bargaining agreements. With the Teacher Service Commission, you've had teachers complain about the health services that they are getting through the scheme that they have. And we have an additional 18 billion shillings that are going to the Teacher Service Commission, again to cater for insurance shortfalls, teacher promotion and personnel emoluments, shortfalls that were there at the TSC. And therefore, those teachers who are not able to be promoted because of budget shortfalls can now smile all the way to TSC as they seek their promotions. To Honorable Speaker, the State Department of University Education is a major beneficiary. You can see some 16 billion shillings going to the university education, to, among other things, 4.2 billion to implement the university's collective bargaining agreement, the CBA. As I said, you have seen UASU and other university dons even coming to petition Parliament at the gates of Parliament and demonstrating in town, agitating for implementation of the CBA agreement. Therefore, there is that 4.2 billion shillings to ensure that the State Department for University Education honors the CBA agreement that they entered into. There are also upward revisions that mostly relate to A&A. And Honorable Speaker, it's important to note because, again, many people have criticized the digitization of government services through eCitizen. If you skim through the schedules and the committee's report, you see a lot of revisions of A&A, appropriations in aid. And these to a total, my colleague is reminding me, almost 19 billion. These are resources that have not been factored in the budget, but are now realizable, and this has come out of the digitization of government services through eCitizen. And through this digitization, Honorable Speaker, many institutions of government, many agencies of government, ministries and departments are now able to get more resources in A&A. And this is the upward mobility, you say, of A&A in the State Department of Universities and others, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, again, in healthcare, Kenyatta National Hospital is getting additional resources. Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital, MTRH, and I don't want to get into the figures, and KEMSA, Honorable Speaker. And this again speaks to the need, Honorable Speaker, of ensuring that both our national referral hospitals are adequately resourced to be able to offer services to Kenyans when they need them, and especially under the Social Health Insurance Fund, or SHA. Honorable Speaker, there is an additional 3 billion shillings that is going for the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illnesses Fund, 1.5 billion shillings stipend for healthcare professional interns, and 600 million for operationalizing the primary health care networks. Honorable Speaker, this speaks to a great extent to the issues that you remember during the members' retreat in Naivasha, when the Social Health Insurance Authority appeared before us in Naivasha, and you did ask the Committee on Health to sit and look into the issues that are bedeviling the implementation of SHA. Honorable Speaker, part of the issues and the challenges that were identified is the low funding that went into the Primary Healthcare Fund and the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illnesses Fund. Honorable Speaker, it's important for Kenyans to appreciate that the more members who enlist onto SHA and make contributions, the more efficient and effective SHA will become in terms of being able to cater for needs of their customers or needs of patients who walk into hospitals. For instance, Honorable Speaker, the Primary Healthcare Fund is meant to ensure that any Kenyan who is registered under SHA or Taifa Care, if they walk into a level 1, level 2, level 3 hospital, they see a doctor, they get a prescription, they get treated, and they go home without being asked for a coin. So long as that primary healthcare facility, whether it is a private healthcare facility or a public healthcare facility, is enlisted under the Social Health Authority. Honorable Speaker, it's sad that in some counties, and I think it was Trans Nzoia County that I was able to learn, many hospitals are not enlisted in the Social Health Authority. And therefore, anyone who walks into a public health facility in Trans Nzoia County, for instance, if that hospital is not enlisted by the county government in SHA, they will not get services by SHA. And that is why you hear a lot of negativity, people saying, including some of those governors claiming, oh, SHA is not working. It cannot work if the hospital is not enlisted in SHA. It will not work for you if you are not registered as a member and a paid-up member. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, the first bit of the universal health coverage, or the first pillar that we deliberated on when we passed these bills 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, when we passed the 4 health laws, was to make sure that primary health care in the country becomes free of charge in the level 1, level 2, level 3 hospitals, Honorable Speaker. But the resourcing of those healthcare facilities must come from exchequer money, which is what now we are doing, giving them an additional 3 billion shillings, plus more resources that will come from members' subscriptions or member premiums for those who enlist. And therefore, I want to use this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to encourage Kenyans to continue enlisting. Yesterday, I had an occasion to meet a good friend of mine, a reverend, who has been very critical of this program. But he told me in my office he had come to tell me that indeed this SHA is working, because his mom has had her bill catered for to the tune of 800,000 shillings at Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. And Honorable Speaker, this money that we are appropriating today, not just for the Primary Healthcare Fund, but also for the Chronic, Critical and Emergencies Fund. I had occasion of a border rider, Honorable Speaker, who registered for SHA, never paid up for his premiums, and got into an accident. And under the health laws that we passed for SHA, when you have a critical emergency, an accident, or chronic and critical illnesses, those should be catered for not by the Primary Healthcare Fund, but the Chronic, Emergency and Critical Illnesses Fund. That is a fund that you see, again, we are giving another 3 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker, to ensure that if you are registered in SHA and you get into an accident, you get into a hospital, whether you be referred to Kenyatta National Hospital or to KU Teaching and Referral, MTRH, Kisii Referral Hospital, whichever hospital, whether it's level 4, level 5, level 6, you will get treated and your bills will be catered for by SHA. And Honorable Speaker, those are some of the things. Honorable Speaker, because I can see I'm running out of time, it's also important to mention the question of the use of Article 223 of the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. And we have deliberated on this matter at length. I am happy to note, Honorable Speaker, as much as we have requests of almost 80 think it was 86 billion for use under Article 223. This is not unlike what was happening before when the National Treasury was spending money and coming for post facto approval. At least this time, Honorable Speaker, I note out of the 88 billion, only 44 billion is going to recurrent expenditure and 43 billion is going to development expenditure, and of which only 40 billion has already been disbursed, meaning another 48 billion shillings. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm saying, meaning about 48 billion shillings are requests they have come to this House to ask the House to approve. And this is what the National Treasury should be doing. And as I congratulate Honorable Atandi for his election as the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, and Honorable Kose, and all the members who have joined this committee, is to ask you to make sure that you set this as a new trend, that the National Treasury must be coming to the National Assembly to seek approval for expenditure before they spend. Unlike what was happening before, and they were spending money in all manner of things, including paying for land compensation, which are not emergencies. At least this time you can see money that is being spent is going into security operations that are of emergency nature, drought mitigation, and many other things, Honorable Speaker, that are listed in the report and the schedules that I don't need to go through, which fall into the category of what we ought to be approving under Article 223. And on that, let me congratulate the new Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury for endeavoring to do what he promised during his vetting, that he will adhere to the spirit and the letter of the Constitution and honor the work of the National Assembly. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to support.
Tandi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, before I make my submissions on the supplementary estimates 2, let me first of all take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God for enabling me to be the chair of Budget and Appropriations Committee, taking over from the very able and competent Kiaru MP Ndindi Nyoro. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that since the constitution of the broad-based government, the president has continued to do things that have continued to confound many Kenyans. One of the things that the president has done, Honorable Speaker, first of all, is to reorganize government and to bring some of us into cabinet. Honorable Speaker, when you attended the burial of the late CDF General Ogola, Honorable Speaker, you are present. When I challenged the president that there are certain positions in this country, Honorable Speaker, that have never been held by certain members of certain communities. And Honorable Speaker, as the majority leader has rightfully said, today we have the Cabinet Minister for Finance being the Honorable John Badi. That is a big milestone, Honorable Speaker, something that has never happened since independence. Honorable Speaker, today, again, I break the record as the first man from that region to chair Budget and Appropriations Committee. Honorable Speaker, this is a very big milestone that, first of all, I would like to thank the President of the Republic of Kenya for his bold leadership and for ensuring that whatever he says, he acts whatever he says. And when the President said that he wants to unite the country, Honorable Speaker, this is the real evidence that the President is really uniting the country. Second, Honorable Speaker, my party, the ODM, Orange Democratic Movement Party, and the leadership. Honorable Speaker, you know Baba is always present. And so I want to thank Baba for this opportunity. The leadership of this House, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Junet Mohammed is here, Honorable Speaker. Let me confess, Honorable Speaker, that Junet is the person who reorganizes our Zimio side. And for me to sit here, Honorable Speaker, it is the confidence that the Junet Mohammed has in me that has allowed me to chair this committee. Honorable Speaker, these are things that must go on record even before I start work. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to say much more from there, but just to make a few remarks on the supplementary estimates before the House. Honorable Speaker, the reality of the matter is that these estimates are before the House at the moment when the economy is stabilizing. This is something that I need to repeat for everybody to hear, that the truth of the matter is that the economy is stabilizing and these estimates are before the House at the correct time. One of the evidence that the economy is stabilizing, Honorable Speaker, is that prices of basic food has come down. Inflation has moved from as high rate in 2024 of 10%, we are talking about 3.5% as at February. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, also, our Kenya shilling has stabilized against major currencies, and especially the dollar, and evidence that the economy is doing very well. Honorable Speaker, fuel prices have also come down, and these three factors have given me the confidence that we are actually doing well and we are on the right track as a country. Honorable Speaker, one of the things that has been achieved, courtesy of these developments, is that we are having low food prices. Honorable Speaker, today, basic commodities prices have also come down, and generally, Kenyans are happy. But let me say, Honorable Speaker, that some of this, the factors that have led to this success is, one, investments in agriculture. Honorable Speaker, you remember that the President decided to invest in production, subsidizing seeds, subsidizing fertilizers. This has led into what now we are calling sufficient food production and low pricing. Honorable Speaker, you can also see that we have had very good weather. Over the years, we have had good weather that has helped us. But, Honorable Speaker, having said all that, we also need to recognize the challenges that we face. One of the challenges that we face, and which is captured in the supplementary estimates, is the piling of our debt. And we are spending so much money in paying our debts as they mature. This is going to be a very big problem as we go on. And also, there's also pressure for expenditures. Honorable Speaker, when I sat in the budget committee last time, all sectors are looking for resources. The road sector is looking for resources. The education sector is looking for resources. The health sector. So this pressure for resources is going to be a very big challenge for us. And therefore, as a House, we must look for ways in which we are going to raise our own resources to be able to fund some of these demands. Honorable Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank the Liaison Committee, led by the able Deputy Speaker. Honorable Speaker, through your ruling, and to help the House make progress, pending the composition of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, you decided that this supplementary budget be handled by the Liaison Committee. Honorable Speaker, I can confirm that the committee has done a very good job. They have been able to listen to Kenyans and committees, and the report that is before the House has the full support of me as the chairman of Budget Committee and members of my committee. As a matter of fact, Honorable Speaker, during our meeting in the morning, we were briefed on the progress of the supplementary estimates, and we were convinced that the committee has done a very good job. Honorable Speaker, as I wind up, I would like to say that that there have been concerns have been raised in this House concerning the manner in which previous committees have allocated resources. Honorable Speaker, this is something that I'm well aware of, and the only thing I want to promise the country is that I'm going to preside over sharing of public resources in a manner that respects diversity of the country, in a manner that respects equity, and that each and every section of the country is going to benefit from the resources. Honorable Speaker, this is an assurance I want to give, and with the support of members of this House, I am sure that we are going to succeed. Honorable Speaker, thank you. I support.
Thank you, Chair Budget Bowen.